on Trans-Europe Express will know that halfway through the show, we were halfway through discussing the lower reaches of the French league when suddenly this thing broke in the media, and a handbrake turned the entire show into talking about what is, in one way it's a storm in a teacup. One very famous egotistical person interviews another very famous egotistical person. Nobody is injured. But on the other hand, it's the most famous footballer in the world taking a blowtorch to the most famous football club in the world. It looks like, of course, that Ronaldo's time at Manchester United must be over after that. He gave what was then an unauthorised and exclusive interview on Talk TV. Video clips from that interview with Piers Morgan have been released, with Ronaldo saying that he feels betrayed by the club, he does not respect the manager, Erik Ten Hag, and he feels that he is being forced out.
They're trying to force you out?
Yes, not only the coach, but the other 2 or 3 guys there around the club.
At the senior executive level?
Yes, that I felt betrayed.
And you think they're trying to get rid of you?
Honestly, I shouldn't say that, I don't know, but listen, I don't care, people should listen the truth. Yes, I feel betrayed, and I felt that some people that don't want me here, not only this year, but last year too.
I mean, this lad doesn't do anything that isn't premeditated. He speaks perfect English. It's on camera, so there's no danger he can come around and say he's been misquoted. These are the things he thinks, and this is the time that he's chosen to do it. Danny, I'm sure you'll be okay with the fact that I'm going to ask Courtney to comment on this, who, despite her hybrid accent, as she described it to me, from moving around the country playing football, is a Manchester United fan. Courtney, what did you make? I presume you heard about this last night. What was your immediate reaction?
Yeah, I heard about it. Looked at the clips. Sort of. I want to say I keep changing my mind on it, but being in the game, my initial thought was silly boy, and he's sort of defaming the club. And I was worried about as well, not necessarily his legacy at Manchester United, but his legacy as a player, in terms of being talked as about one of the best players in the world. But the more I think about it, and actually some of the situations that I've been through myself, within football, and maybe having disagreements with managers, and being, me and Danny were speaking about it as well. Sometimes you're told to train with the kids. That happened to me, and I think it's a difficult one. And actually, probably a lot of footballers would want to come out and do what he's done and say what he said, but maybe whether they don't have the platform, in terms of financial, as a footballer, you don't come out and say things because you think, right, I don't want to be labelled as difficult. I don't want to have a target on me in terms of, right, if I need to another club, I'm going to make myself not necessarily look silly, but, other clubs might not touch me. So actually, I think he's probably done something that a lot of footballers through the years have wanted to do, but for one reason or another, didn't or weren't able to say what he said. I think the stuff with the football club in terms of that not progressing,
the swimming pool.
Well, that's in the chefs. I think that he
should have been bigger.
Yeah, he makes a good point in terms of that progression of that football club. Obviously, then it gets a bit personal with Ten Hag, and I think that's what is maybe putting people's backs up a bit. So it'll be interesting to see, when the full interview comes out, what exactly is said, because we're getting clips of it at the moment.
Courtney, we'll come back to exactly what you said from the bits that we already know. Danny, what was your reaction? Because it is unusual for footballers to do unauthorised interviews, particularly when they're not away on international duty and can claim they were misquoted in their native language. It's also very unusual for a footballer to go in quite so too-studied on the people who currently employ him. Two-footed, rather.
Yeah, well, I think the way he's done it's unusual and unique. I don't think any other footballer's gone on some sort of chat show before to air their grievances.
That's probably why he's done it that way, because he is Cristiano Ronaldo.
He can do, yeah.
I'm not as disgusted by everyone else, although I do understand the impact. The problem is when you're being paid by a football club and representing them, your personal grievances with the manager really should come second. I've been in a couple of situations, and Courtney said, we were talking about it earlier, where I wanted to publicly hammer and annihilate one particular manager, and a second not quite with the same disdain.
Oh, you've got a list, have you?
Well, two in particular. And the reason I was upset is because they lied to me and then ended up pushing me out, and I was training the kids and pushed me out of the team and didn't do things they said they were going to do. And I don't like that. I'm a big boy. I can take honesty. And I expect that from anyone in the workplace, whether it be a colleague or a... So we don't know exactly what's gone on, but my feeling is that if he was going to do it, it could have been done differently. But ultimately, all he's doing is he's cementing his move. Yeah. Now, you could argue that his legacy might be tarnished and certain people might remember him distastefully. I don't think that's going to happen, because in 10 years' time, when you think about Ronaldo, you just think about the quality and the goals and the impact he had at every club he was at, and the fact he's one of the best players ever. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I get the fans will be angry and frustrated, a lot of them, because it should be about the team and the club moving forward. Realistically, Dan, a player coming out and hammering a manager or talking about the club when he's not in a good mindset himself doesn't impact the other players. It doesn't, because football is selfish. And let me tell you this, most players are all about me. And if I'm playing in a team where one player comes out and hammers the manager, it's fish paper wrapper the next day. You know what I mean? It's whatever. It's not a big deal. I don't agree with him doing it. I wouldn't have done it, but I have empathy, because I wish I'd have had the stature, the confidence and the money to do it. Because ultimately he doesn't care about the fine that's coming. He doesn't care about the backlash. He's going to get another club. They're going to want him out the door, and he's going to get what he wants, and he'll still be remembered as fondly as this will be forgotten in another 12 months.
Well, I mean, that's something we can talk about after we've had the first break, exactly what kind of club can afford him and would want him. I noticed that the directors, the director of football at Sporting, the club where he started, was out of the traps very quickly last night, saying that, of course we love him, but his previous statement was, of course we love him, but we couldn't afford him. But if Manchester United cancel his contract, then it's a whole different thing. He can negotiate. He can play for love if he wants to. There's a concept that both you as ex-pros might find very difficult to deal with, but he could play for nothing.